What is going on, guys? Today in this occasion we are going to talk about declarative content clause. Me and my friend Andika Dewa. Today we are going to discuss about it. So let's get it. The first we are going to talk about metric clause. Metric clause is a clause consists of subordinate clause which have main clause inside there. So let's see the first sentence. I first met her in Paris, where I lived as a small child. We know that I first met her in Paris is main clause, and then where I lived as a small child is subordinate clause. We know this is subordinate clause and main clause because we see where marked by where. It's called connective. So we know that this sentence is metric clause. There are three major subclauses of finite subordinate clause, like relative clause, comparative clause, and content clause. First is relative clause. The relative clause, it can called by adjective clause. In relative clause, the subordinate clause will characterize the main clause because adjective cannot stand alone without noun. So let's see the sentence. They were not among the people who had been invited. This is the subordinator. This is main clause and subclause. So, who had been invited characterized they were not among the people. Next is comparative clause. We know that comparative clause is sentence to compare one things with other things. The element is to compare. So let's see the sentence. More people came than had been invited. We know that this is comparative clause because there are more and then. And the last is content clause. Content clause, it becomes complement of verb because this content clause follow the characteristic of speech art function. So let's see the example. I don't think that these people had been invited. I don't think is the verb, is the main clause, and that these people had been invited is complement. So all form of clause that follow speech function can be called content clause.
The system of clause type described for main clause in chapter 9. You can open in chapter 9 applies also to content clause. In clause type in content clause, we can say speech act and included declarative, close interrogative, open interrogative, exclamative, and imperative. But in clause type in content clause, expert than imperative. Are normally restricted to main clause. In 3, we illustrate main clause and content clause of the other 4 types. These 4 types are
Declarative content clause, or we can say it as net clause. This clause included to subordinate clause
because as we know that subordinate clause cannot stand alone and requires main clause. Declarative content clause can have a number of different grammatical roles.
they often serve as direct objects of verbs of reporting, cognition, perception, and so on. Declarative content, it is sometimes obligatory, it is sometimes inadmissible, it is sometimes optional, but in the first example is obligatory. Yes, I have one sentence in there that I need help is obvious. We can say obligatory if the content clause in the left periphery, like this. So we have I need help is obvious. If the head is a noun, we can use.
Next is inadmissible. We can say inadmissible if that subordinate with particular preposition. Only a few prepositions allow that, notwithstanding in order provided, given, except, in, and before. As we know that inadmissible with particular preposition. With particular preposition like this is there. So let's see the example. I left before that he arrived. Before is particular preposition, right? Before is particular preposition with that. So we can say this is inadmissible because before is particular preposition.
The next material from declarative content is optional. We can say optional if we have particularly verbs and adjectives. We can identify them as optional. Like this. I told him when we meet that it turned out to be genuine. We have told for verb and genuine for adjective. In informal style and in formal style, after a short common verb and after a long less frequent verb, we can use optional.
Let's move to the next topic. This topic is declarative as complement. As we know that declarative is sentence that makes a statement, and in this case declarative function as complement. This function can be divided into six. 1. Subject, 2. Extra post subject. 3. Internal complement of verb. 4. Complement of noun. 5. Complement of adjective.
Subject.
And 6. Complement of preposition.
Mainly the declarative on first, like this. This is the obligatory. This is the obligatory. So let's say this example that they refused didn't surprise us. We know that this is the subject, so the first is that they refused, and then extra post subject. This topic is the synonym with subordinate clause, so the function is same with subordinate clause to explain the main clause. This is the main clause, and then this is the extra post subject, like subordinate clause. It didn't surprise us that they refused, like that. Next, internal complement of verb. He told her that she was smart. Why it says internal? Because internal refers to her, right? And then this is the complement of verb. We can see that this is verb. And then he told her that she was smart. That she was smart is complement. Complement to told. This is what we call internal complement of verb.
The next is complement of nouns. We can identify by there is a noun before subordinate that. And there is complement, someone will do such a thing to his father. This is a compliment. An idea as a noun phrase. And noun refers to idea, and we can identify because after noun phrase there is a subordinate that. The next topic is in declarative content is complement of adjective. As example, I am not sure that he was right. Then sure as adjective, and then that he was right as complement. So we can know the complement of adjective because that have sure before complement. The next topic in declarative content is complement of preposition. As example, they left before that the meeting and in this sentence, why I write subordinate that? Because before is particular preposition. This is like previous topic about subordinate that, which is inadmissible. So we can omit that. Before as preposition, and the meeting as complement. before until the meeting ends is preposition phrase. So we can identify this sentence to complement of preposition.
The next topic is the mandative construction. The mandative construction is to convey a command specifically designating a subjunctive use in a subordinate clause following an expression of command, suggestion, or possibility. The mandative construction can be divided into three: subjunctive, mandative, should mandative, and covered mandative. Subjunctive mandative is used with clause that usually but not always begin with the express demand, requirement, request, and recommendation. It is indicated by the use of the base form of the verb with singular subject. The first is subjunctive mandative. For example, it is essential that he be told immediately. To be is still present form, not added s or es in the third singular person. And then two, should mandative. For example, it is essential that he should be told immediately. To indicate it is should mandative, before to be, this is to be, there is should to indicate that. And then three, covered mandative. For example, it is essential that it is told immediately. There is no plain form. Is to be turned into actual to be.
The next is potential ambiguity. While content clause complement of demand, essential, mandatory, vital, and the like are always mandative, there are some lexemes such as instinct and important that listens to mandative and non-mandative complements, and here we see ambiguities that show us the distinct use of the two contrasted. These two examples make a sub-contrast. Number one, include in insist. I insisted that he meet her. This sentence is not ambiguous and includes subjunctive mandative because nothing s or es in verb, and it includes subjunctive mandative. Number two, I insisted that he meet her. This sentence turns on to be actually to be, not mandative. The next lesson is important. Let's see the example. A doctor who says it's important that he drink a lot. There is two possibilities: the lack of fluids or the fact he is a heavy drinker. This sentence makes ambiguous like this.